Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo. This is our MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and online. Tonight is our awakening panel, and the theme is crossing the veil into the spirit world. Like all of our panels, it's free to be here, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. I'm going to start putting some of the panel members on Spotlight. The panel members are going to go through and we'll introduce ourselves and talk a bit about the theme tonight, and then we'll be answering questions. And let's see. All right, great. And there may be a sixth panel member that's joining us. All right. Well, we have panels on many different themes. So tonight, crossing the veil into the spirit world. There are lots of different aspects to this, lots of ways of approaching it. So you just get to hear from all the different practitioners. I'm open to who wants to go first. Is any, like, if one of you particularly drawn, do you want to go first? Like, we could reverse the order of the intros if you want. And but yeah, it's like 2 to 3 minutes, and feel free to talk about yourself, your work, all that you do, and then talk a bit about the theme, crossing the veil into the spirit world. There's Kai, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Kai. I'm a Hawaiian Kahuna, which is the Hawaiian version of a shaman. I was just at the fair down in Portland this weekend. It was crazy fun. I had a great time. First time I was there. It was wonderful. Met a lot of interesting people, and got to do all kinds of stuff as far as, use all my abilities to help the people down there. So that was fun. I did readings down there. I actually helped a couple of people who came to me because loved ones had passed over, to help them pass all the way through the veil completely. I actually removed some entities that were attached to people. I did all kinds of stuff. It was fun. So that's part of what I do as a shaman, is I walk between the worlds quite a bit, doing lots of different things. And I enjoy it the whole time. It's never dull.
Maybe, can you say just a little bit more of like how it is, how did your, how to say, maybe I often ask, how did you open your gifts? But my sense is that that's not really the right question for you. But maybe can you talk a little bit about kind of the beginning of the progression for you?
Well, like I had said earlier before all this started, was that I actually, like, kahunas tend to be part of your lineage. And I didn't know that until much later. It was my adoptive mother who actually knew before I did that I had gifts, because I could, I told this story earlier, but what she would do when I was a baby is, when she met someone who she wasn't sure if she should like them or not, because there was something not quite right about them, is she would hand me over to that person or get me close. And if I was okay with that person, she knew they were okay. And if I started screaming my head off, she knew something was wrong with them. And she said, "You were never wrong." So I knew that you had something. And then as I was growing up, I would say, "Mom, there's a lady standing in the corner, or there's a thing, on the ceiling." And she would never say, "Don't say that," or "You're just imagining that." She would just say, "Okay." And she would do like a blessing on our house. And that would be that. So this was like not new to me. It wasn't until I got to be an adult that people were like, "What do you see? What was that?" So for me, it's not new per se. It's been forever for me.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. So you got a little bit of a glimpse of what the theme might be like tonight and how we might be answering questions. Let's go ahead, Wyatt, and then Michelle, and then Susie.
I was not ready. I was tapping something. Hi, everyone. My name is Wyatt Larsen. I am a shamanism practitioner and storyteller. Let's see, crossing the veil. So crossing the veil and being a shaman, I know next to nothing about the Hawaiian Kahuna practices, but I do know a lot more about the shamanism of the Norse and the North, and kind of core shamanism, and as that's what I was trained in. So my very first time opening up to my gifts as a psychopomp, it was in a course with my shamans, and this had happened after I had been through my car wreck, and a lot of you know my story.
Well, a bunch of people tonight maybe haven't heard your story. Can you touch on it briefly?
This is true. Yeah. I really haven't been in them for a while. That is true. So I really opened up to my gifts in a very nasty car wreck. Across 4 lanes of traffic, I ricocheted, and there was a semi right behind me, and it was all icy, and it was great. And yeah, I'll let your mind fill in the rest. And so with that kind of event, the initial crossing of the veil and then coming back opens the doorway for you to have constant contact with the other side because you've already crossed it. And so that's kind of what happened. Very shortly after, I found and started training under my shamans up in Parker, Colorado. And with that, I came learning psychopomp work and what they call death and dying, learning what it means to help someone cross over. And so with death and dying and helping people to cross over and being full in your spiritual light, we did like a lot of death boats, and that was a lot of fun. But it's really interesting to see when people need to cross when you're not in the same plane of existence. You go to like a different world and then you see them there, and they've maybe been there for a lot longer than they should. And then there's a really common thread where a lot of people don't, if it's been a traumatic death, a lot of people don't feel worthy to go and completely cross over the veil. And so there's a lot of healing work and a lot of counseling and being there for that person, even if they're not physically there with us, but spiritually, to help them cross over. So it's this very interesting way, I guess, interesting in a casual kind of way. It's kind of normal for a lot of us practitioners, but maybe weird for those who don't practice, right? That you have these people here who want help, and so you just help them cross over. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of my initiation into helping people cross over, was in kind of a formal, quote unquote, setting with my own teachers. And it's with like another very, very short story. The first person that I helped cross over was one of my exes who had took his own life. And it was very hard on me to kind of understand what was going on and where they were coming from, and the raw wealth and well of emotion that came from that. And so it was very liberating to really see the other side of it when you are kind of in this position of helping someone, actually someone who hurt you very deeply and then was no longer there, and then you help heal both yourself and them by helping them cross over. It's a very powerful experience for me. Now I feel like I'm rambling if I just go on with that, but it's it's very interesting. So that's me. I do also a lot of other things. I work with the great yew tree, who has its roots in both worlds and is fabled to be thought of as Yggdrasil, other than the ash tree. So you have ash and the yew and death and life, and is very interesting. And then I work with a bunch of other spirits. I work with the wind. You may hear me talk about the wind a lot in these panels. And yeah, I just have a lot of fun with these and sharing my story and all of our stories with you. So I guess that's me.
Thanks so much, Wyatt. And we'll have a chance to loop back too if you all think of more things you want to share. Michelle.
Namaste, everyone. I'm Michelle Skoliski-Boyd. I go by Michelle SB here. I'm from Soul Felt Words, Soul Felt Journeys. I have been doing intuitive mediumship probably forever. Like when I was a kid, I used to hear a lot of different spirits, a lot of different voices. I'm not so much a seer, more of a hearer. What I did when I was a child was I would actually go around and find animals that had died, like roadkill. And I would ask myself, like, for those of you who have this gift, you know whether or not the spirit's still with the animal and if they need help crossing over. So I would connect with the animal as a child, or I would give them a proper burial. So I kind of knew early on I was a little different in that regard. Right now I'm a full-time clinical hypnotherapist. And so I bring people into hypnosis, and while they're under trance, I help them learn how to connect to their spirits, how to take soul journeys, and actually listen to their higher self. A lot of people don't make the time necessarily to trust their own intuition or to go within, even though that's where all of our treasures are. So I really appreciate everybody who's showing up tonight. And I have a really good feeling that all of us are going to bring something unique and valuable to each and every one of you. So just thank you for being here.
Thanks, Michelle. Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie Parker, Goins of Blue Lightning Healing, and I'm a channel. So, growing up Catholic, I was taught that we're all part of the body of Christ. Christ is the head, Christ is God. And so it took me a while to figure out, well, I know there's some sort of logical progression there, and it's been actually within the last few years that I talk to my clients and tell them that we are all source. We're just different aspects of source. And so as I encourage people to connect with their own version of source, it allows me to connect with those who have crossed over because, they are still part of source. In talking with those who have crossed over, it's been quite an education. When we first moved up here from Texas to near Seattle, golly, my son was 3 months old, and I saw my mother, who had died when I was 13. So we're talking at this point, like almost 40 years ago. And I saw her in the rocking chair as clear as day. And she said, it's all going to be all right. And I haven't been able to connect with her. So I am finding that I connect with those who are ready to be spoken to or who have a message to convey. I can't elbow my way in and say, you're going to talk to me. But that's not just those who have crossed over, but sometimes there's somebody who doesn't want to hear what they need to hear. And it's just a fascinating, mind expanding concept to know that we can travel between the realms, that we can touch in that time. Time's all one great big ball of, to quote Doctor Who, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. And we're focusing on a particular point in time, which allows us to go and to touch on various points as we remember it. And as I've never really thought of myself as one who walks between the realms, but I kind of talk to them all the time. So being able to talk to, whether it's my stones or to someone's grandmother or someone who's crossed over, has been a real gift for me. And it's allowed me to work through my own fears about how transitory our experience is here. And so to be able to connect with those beings, with those people who have been here and who have crossed over, and then the beings beyond what we see in this agreed upon reality, has been so great and so cool. And it's really enhanced what I do and how I connect with people now face to face. So I'm excited to be here. And I'm so happy to have these folks on the panel too. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Susie. And I'm hopeful that we'll still be joined by one other practitioner. I'll mention who it is, and then I want to just have a chance to focus more on all of you because you're really more all about the themes than I am. The theme, I'll say a little bit about myself too. So Nikita McFarland might join us. She does intuitive mediumship, healing, and oracle card readings. I'm hopeful she is here as well. Just in hearing each other introduce yourselves, is there anything else that you want to share about yourselves or any other perspectives on like what this means, crossing the veil into the spirit world? Like any other context for that hasn't been shared yet? Yeah, just checking. It's okay. And we've already got a question in line, so we totally can like jump right into. Just give you all another moment. Yeah, anything else that you want to share just about yourselves or the theme? Well, I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I look at photos of people who have passed, and I so feel their souls in their eyes and their photos. And part of what I enjoy about my work is the way that I can connect with someone that's gone and like recreate so much of who they are and how they're still alive, like the parts of them that they've left, maybe could say about that. With the person that's still here, there's still often a deep connection. My aim usually in speaking of them is to help someone heal through whatever is there with that person. It comes up a lot, and I mean, certainly looking back at trauma, and I do a lot of matchmaking work. So looking back at patterns with people in our family and how we repeat patterns and wounding that's still there, that's impacting who we choose and who we connect with. Yeah, I read people's eyes for all kinds of reasons, helping them better understand themselves and making all kinds of choices. I was touched with one of you sharing, I'm like, was that, I don't even remember who it was. It was in the beginning. I'm multitasking over here with some back end stuff. And one of you, was it Wyatt? One of you talked about helping someone pass in the beginning. Was that you? Yeah. And so I just didn't think about all of, as my mom, when my mom died, and that whole process, and just so much of the journey for me. My mom died when I was in my 20s. And yeah, it's just interesting for me too, hearing about all these things. And yeah, it's great. Well, yeah, so I read people's eyes, and I might answer some questions about I might answer some questions from someone that asked a question tonight, and not my specialty so much to cross. And yeah, so just lots more opportunities for me to open, I think, in these ways. So see what happens for me on the panel. I will continue to put some information in the chat. I don't have specials from everybody. Some of you don't have specials tonight. If any of you have specials that you want, let me know, and I'll put them in the information that I'm sharing. Yeah, so all the practitioners' information is in the chat now. If you recently arrived, I will get it in the chat again for you soon. Yeah, so it's free to be here to listen and learn, and a small price to ask a question of the panel. I'll put the information in the chat again right now. And then before we start into the questions, again, just in my sharing, if any practitioners, if any of you have anything else you want to jump in and share, let me know. Okay. Was that yes, Wyatt? You're just moving the microphone ready, getting ready? Okay, great. So before we start answering questions, I mentioned that this is public, it's recorded, and we're going to be posting it online. So keep that in mind if you want to ask a question. Most people come up on stage, and so you'll be on the camera too. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can change your name and ask anonymously. You don't have to turn on your video. You can even have me read your question. It's all great, however you want to do this. So when you ask a question, if we share deeper than you want us to share, or we share about topics you don't want us sharing in this context, please interrupt us and let us know. We're here to honor you. So please help us reframe in whatever way would serve you and honor you in the way we answer. Chances are everyone will answer a question, maybe not everyone. Usually you get a number of answers. Also, this is a great opportunity for all of you practicing opening your gifts, whatever form. You may have information come through you, so you might want to grab something where you can write anything that shows up. You may already have things that are beginning to appear. Anything that you notice, anything that your attention goes on, it's great to draw that or write some words about that, so that as we're answering questions, you might see, oh, the things that came through you are things that we're talking about also. It's a way of helping you get more confirmation, like, oh, these really are messages. This is information that's coming through. And you may have lots come through too that we don't mention. Lots can show up for all kinds of people. It's just great to get confirmation on our path as we're growing. We request that you allow the attention to stay up on the panel tonight. So if something does come through you, please wait until we finish answering someone's question. And then if you want, you can private chat them and ask if they'd like to hear what came through you. Please honor whatever they share. It may be that they are full and they don't want any more right then. And please honor that and trust that it came through you for some other reason, maybe helping you like learn and grow and learning all kinds of skills. All right, well, let's see. So I know of one question we have so far. If anyone else has paid to ask a question, please do let me know. Mention it in the chat to me so that I can get you in line if I haven't noticed. And then if you're having any trouble paying with PayPal or Venmo, I can do Square on my phone and things like that too. And so practitioners, we typically want to keep our answers to around like 2.5, 3 minutes each. It's a smaller panel tonight too, and we only have one question so far, so the first one might go a little longer. It's one advantage of jumping in early for any of you that yeah, and then we'll tune as we go with people, more people signing up. All right, we've got Joy first in line. Joy, if you want to jump up to the front, we'll get you up here. All right, great.
Hi, everyone. I think Susie's been on a panel when I've asked this before. A question about my mother who passed in January 2020, and then my dog that passed last month. In fact, as Susie and Laurel, I've heard there's been a lot of activity, I feel like, from my mom. A lot of, well, she had named me Joy, and for a long time I was using my middle name, but I just have been getting a lot of like signs that she wanted me to use my name or the name she gave me. So I've been doing that. And then, so it feels like there's been a lot of like signs from her. And then my dog kind of had a really unnecessary, unexpected passing. There was some medication she shouldn't have gotten. So I'm just wondering if what messages you might get from them.
Go ahead, Kai.
Hi, Joy. How are you?
Hi, Kai. Right.
So what I'm getting regarding your mom is that it feels to me like she's trying to get you to, for lack of a better way to say it, step into your power. You know, because it's like your name is who you are, who you were meant to be. And, you know, even if you change your name, it's the vibration of it is still yours. And so she's wanting you to just, she's telling you it's time for you to take your place. And, you know, I think my sense of it is like, what I'm hearing is that she knew the dog was coming. So she stepped forward to come and take the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because, you know, the dog was in the garage when it happened. I wasn't there, but we have a security camera there. And that day, when I went back and looked at the footage that day, there was a flashing light in the garage right around the time it happened. And it was just really, I mean, it felt like a spirit. It did feel like there was no other source for the light. It just,
yeah, she knew, because, you know, animals and people, I mean, we make the agreement ahead of time. We know when we're going, we just don't remember it. And, you know, so she knew that it was the dog's time. So, you know, she's doing well, while I'm here, telling her to step into her power, at the same time, I will take care of this creature that, you know, means so much to you at the same time. So that's what I'm getting, is that she was like, well, you know, I keep telling my daughter that she needs to step into her own. And as this is coming up, I will assist in that as well, is what I'm getting.
Oh, that's wonderful. She loved animals. She loved animals.
Yeah.
In fact, I have two pit bulls, and they fought one time, and she saved them, because you know how you're not supposed to break up a dog fight. Well, she did anyway. She's tiny, and they knocked her down and trampled over her, but she broke it up, and she got her finger bitten, but one of them would have died, and she hadn't done that. She was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Kai. That's wonderful. Really wonderful.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Hi, Joy. So myself fixated on the name part. So we're gonna talk about a name. Kind of piggybacking on what Kai said a little bit. I'm really getting that your mom is wanting you to step into your power. And I really want to expand on that, because if you look at, and we're going to hop into a little bit of mythology here. If you look at the Fae, fairies, elves, so on and so forth, anytime that there is mythology and lore that is not fantasy, you hear of the Fae asking humans for their name. May I have your name? Why? Because it holds power over that person. Your name does not have to be joy. It has to be what you feel powerful in. Your name declares who you are. Your name is your outward representation to the world of what you want to represent. So if your name is joy and you enjoy that, and that's what you want to represent to the world, even if it's, you know, your given name from birth, not a chosen name, then in that aspect, you have chosen it. You have chosen to claim the power of what it is. It's kind of like, not talking about me, but like, I understand. I hated my name. Like, oh, that cowboy dude, what the frick ever. You know, Wyatt Earp of Tombstone and blech, you know. But like actually getting into the etymology of the word Wyatt and what it means, it means white warrior. One bathed in white, one bathed in light, and as a warrior, so on and so forth, going on and on. And so kind of, even though I still don't like it rolling off my tongue, I like the power of it, so I still claim my name, you know.
Uh-huh.
So there is a lot of the stage that you're on, like, who are you claiming? Who do you want to be? So yeah. And then the Six of Cups came up, and it's memories, and I'm really getting that you should really dig into the roots of your memories and where you find your emotions, and where your power is. And then if you choose to change your name, change the name through inspiration of that.
Yes, thank you. That name is special to me. I mean, I changed it when I was like quite young because people were teasing me about it. But actually it's very special to me because my mom gave it to me. So it's very fitting that it's coming from her now, and it actually means a lot. So thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thanks, Wyatt. Susie?
Hey, Joy. I pulled a couple of cards because, yeah, like you mentioned, we have talked before, but I wanted to see what kind of perspective I could get. And the first card I pulled from my Earth Magic deck was grounding. And, you know, as soon as Wyatt's talking about the roots and getting to the roots of who you are and your memories and stuff, I went, okay. So grounding is getting in touch with who you are and what you remember, which brought up the second card, which is karma or ancestors. So
wow.
I feel that, yeah, your mom is telling you it's time to step up into yourself. I understand you're doing mudras. Yes. And stuff like that. And those are going to be very powerful you because it connects you to, it feels like some past lifetimes in which hands were very important. how they were positioned, whether it was, how you held them in society or even with this mudra thing. But this is going to reconnect you with some lineages that you have. Is it genealogy? There are some genealogical ancestor things, but there's also that spiritual lineage that I love so much to connect with. So yeah, she's telling you it's time to wake up, to get up and do the things you're meant to do. She kind of doesn't want to be too pushy, and yet there she is going, but she's gotta. So she's trying to be respectful of your space, but she also knows it's time.
That's so funny. That's very much like her personality. I mean, she would want something where she was never one to force someone to do something, even if it was a good thing. But she also was one of the strongest people I know. And so, and it's amazing that the card that looks exactly like Wyatt's card, the tree.
The tree, yeah.
Yeah. Really, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's the back of the deck too. I love this deck. It's great. So yeah. Grounding, connecting, moving on. Well done.
Thank you so much, Susie.
You're welcome, Joy.
Thanks, Susie. All right. Anything else for Joy? Right, about any of these topics?
I'll just come in and I'll say, Joy, I know that you and I connected in the last event where I brought through your dog a little bit, but
yes, that's right.
Yeah. So what came through for me, like when I first saw that you had prepaid, is I immediately knew to pick a card, and I found it kind of fascinating because it ties into what everybody has said, which I suspected would happen. But this was the card. It's Shark. And it has to do with leadership. So in the ocean, sharks are the leaders, and there's a hierarchy in terms of they know that they're the leader. And with your mom, though she is that gentle, peaceful warrior, she's kindly and lovingly letting you know through us that by going through us and continuously asking us for your answers, and I lovingly say this, it's like you're sort of giving your power away by continuing to do that.
Oh.
She's saying you already know who you are. You already know that you're connected to your mom, and you're already aware that she's with you. What you've forgotten, and this goes to the roots, what you've forgotten is that now that she's gone, you're the matriarch, but you haven't stepped into that role yet.
That's true.
And she wants you to, because it is your role. So when you step into it fully and completely, you'll know it, you'll feel it. Like literally she's taking her crown, and I can see her like passing it on to you. Like she wants you to be indoctrinated, like initiated, and to receive this. But, and I lovingly say this, you're still grieving. You still miss her. You don't want her to be gone. And it's a tough thing to have to step into that when we're not ready. It's like, you know, you don't want to grow up and you're getting your menses. And it's like, sorry, you're a lady, whether you like it or not. And it's sort of like you're in this phase right now, and your mom is just lovingly saying, kiddo, it's your time. And I know that you know how to do this. And it's like, I've given you every tool that you need. So she's sending you lots of love, and just, you have what you need, and it's time.
Oh, that's wonderful, Michelle. Yes, it's ironic, as I have two siblings, but they've been away from home for a long time. I stayed with and was caretaking with my mom, and we were very close for, like my whole life. And they're much, much older than I am. There's like a 10-year difference. But my mom and I were always very close. So, and it feels like there were a lot of messages from her since her passing, that maybe also because I'm in the same house that where we've been, So, so that really resonates.
Yeah, it's like the age is not, it's not relevant. I know you said you had siblings, but like as you're saying that, and as she's coming in, she's just saying, you have the secret recipes. You have the photos. You have the traditions. She gave all that to you for a reason. And so it's your job now to make sure that it gets passed on appropriately.
Oh, wow. That's okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. Very much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joy. I love all these answers, and
Really
it's like we love you and you're welcome here. You started stepping up on some of the panels yourself, and just want to encourage you to keep doing that and really stepping into giving your gifts.
Oh, thank you, Laureli. It's really wonderful that you have all these events. They're really amazing. Each one of them, I think, is a really wonderful opportunity and very unique opportunities to connect with the spirit world.
Thank you. Yeah. So keep looking and seeing how you want to contribute, how you want to share, and yeah, noticing how you already have so much wisdom coming through you, and how you can let yourself share it more and more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy. All right, we've got a couple other people in line already. We've got Jose and then Martha. Anyone has any questions about how to pay or price? It is sliding scale. You choose what is the good rate for you. It's 20 to 28 sliding scale and $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. Jose, I'm going to bring you up. Okay, great. What is your question?
I am not very clear on the question, actually, because it's not a question particularly specific to a past loved one. However, I have been for some time now growing into my abilities, some energy healing, aura readings, and some mediumship. I would call them like more spontaneous mediumships episodes or sessions. And I would love some clarification on a message that I keep getting, especially from one of my guides who could be my great grandma, that they just keep telling me, oh, you're not there yet. Just let fear at aside and emotion, and you need to step into your power. And I'm like, wait a second, like I am a very unconventional person already, like very, very unconventional. So I'm still wondering, like, what's that about? And the only reason of why I got to the theory that could be my great grandma, who's the woman that usually is around in my space, is because where I grew up, we used to have some supernatural stuff happening in the house. And we would joke around saying like, oh, that's your great grandma because she always wanted to meet a male son from your dad. And that's how we kept it. And my family is very open to this. So we've had some conversations around it, but I still don't know.
All right, great. Yeah, that's a lovely question. So you're just wanting whatever shows up for us around any of those things. It might be growing into your abilities and what they're talking about in terms of fear and power, and whether it's your great grandma and all those things, right? Great. Yeah, just see who has something to share first. Yeah, take your turn. I guess I have a question, Jose. You talked about, it sounds like you're learning, like, you have abilities. How are you sharing them with other people?
Yeah, I think so. I think that may, that may be because I am still not out there, like looking for people to practice. Sometimes every now and then I join groups like this, but not in a way that I am, hey, I'm coming out as a practitioner. Let me just offer some free readings or some sort of practice for myself. I don't know. Maybe I'm still very unsure about that. Maybe some confidence stuff.
Yeah, and I want to encourage you that getting experience is part of how you are more likely to grow in confidence too. So, and it's when I started doing my first coaching work, I was just doing coaching before I realized I was doing anything intuitive. I offered my work for free for 2 weeks. I advertised it everywhere, everyone I knew. And, by the end of the 2 weeks, like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely of service. Like, and I need to stop that and I need to charge. And I started small. I charged $10 an hour and then $25 an hour. And, letting what I charge really like feel good to me, and where I wasn't charging more than I felt like I could hold, that I knew I was able to share and deliver with someone. So I just want to encourage you to actively create those times that you can practice. No, like claiming that you're doing a session with someone, there's just an energy of that's very different too. So just saying, I'm doing this, like, will you let me do this with you? Yeah, and growing that muscle. All right, we've got Kai and then Susie. Go ahead, Kai.
Hi, Jose.
Hi.
So what I'm getting from you is that, or what I'm getting for you, and actually I'm getting both, what you're feeling around you, I'm hearing is actually not your great grandmother. It's someone else. But yeah, your family uses the joke, it was your great grandmother, blah, blah, blah. And she might have been there, to fool around a little bit with you guys, because it seems like I get the feeling that your whole family was just fun. Like everybody just had fun. You always laughed, you played jokes on each other, had a good time. That was just how your family was, is my sense of you, which is great. Who's around you now is actually one of your guides. They're not one of your, that person is, first off, it's a guy, and he's not an ancestor of yours, but he is working there to try to help you to claim your talents. And this whole thing about you not stepping into your power is not about you being you, a unique person. It's about you developing a discipline for this, because to a certain degree, this requires you to be patient with yourself, to develop things, notice things, pay attention to things. So sometimes people think that doing this means, I'm my own person and I could do whatever I want. But to a certain degree, in order to hear and listen, you have to be still, and you have to try to, sometimes they'll send you messages that make no sense. So you have to kind of find a way to interpret it so that it does make sense. And that actually takes time, and that takes patience. And I think for you, it's not that you lack abilities at all. In fact, I'm looking at you, and it looks to me like you're shining, like you have so much ability that I can see. The problem is you're that at this point you haven't been able to focus it. And I don't know if it's just because you haven't had an avenue to direct it, or to find someone to help direct you so that you can focus it a little bit. Maybe that's what they're doing there. But so in essence, the message of you not being ready is actually true, because you're not at the point yet where you can kind of like really grasp it and dig in. And that's what I think that's what the message is. That's the feeling that I'm getting, is that they want you to do this. They're encouraging you to do this, but they want you to find a place where you can dig in, take root, and hold on. Then they can actually bring you the teachings and bring you the people and bring you all the things that you need to make that grow. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kai. Susie?
Hi, Jose. I got very similar information to what Kai got. I also pulled cards, and the first one was DNA. So this is part of who you are. Your abilities are there for you to call in on and to use them. I also got, in different words from Kai, but this is not so much about being in the spotlight. This is about you working with yourself and calling in. And so when I got ebb and flow or ocean, and that's reversed. And for me, that would be, like Kai said, sitting quietly with yourself and practicing on it. And sometimes for me, all it is, I'm driving along and I send out love. I'll use my hands as a focal point to send out, to radiate out energy. And for you, you can shift a lot of things going around with that, but also making sure you send it to yourself and to encourage yourself to develop these abilities. It's not so much as walking up to somebody and saying, "Oh, I see somebody around you," because that's not with consent, and that's kind of flashy. You're looking at finding those things that you can do in those moments when you're quiet. And I love the word that Kai used, was focused. So yeah, it's time to focus. It's time to really concentrate on what it is you want to accomplish. And emanating love is really pretty much all that we need to do. So it's there for you. But you got to call on it, and you got to use it and respect it. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Susie. Wyatt?
Where's my button? So I'm kind of piggybacking on the end of what Susie said, that it is time to hone in, time to focus. Thank you, Kai, for the wonderful keyword of this reading. I do want to say that focusing does not mean going into hermit mode. Focusing is more finding your group of people and who you resonate with. It's a group of people where you're able to feel inspired and passionate about what you do. You're never going to really reach completion, because completion isn't a place. Completion is a journey. It's when you feel whole is when you are completing something. Now, there is like the often analytical side of completion, where it's like, yeah, I completed this story and it's done. The last word is written. I don't need to write anymore. But that's not what we're talking about here. Spirituality is not a story that can just end in a single word. It's something that is continuing. So find your group of people and bring adventure into your life, because that's where you're going to bring in these experiences that are really going to help you grow.
Nice. Thank you. And that resonates a lot. I'm a Virgo, which makes sense. All of that completion and start looking for something that's more material or like solid, that I can say, oh yeah, that thing. But also I've always feel a pull towards, for some reason I feel that I should become a free-spirited person more so, because I would say that I'm the opposite. Like I tend to be very conservative, and I don't know. So I feel that inner fight.
Yep, I totally get it. When I was really first starting to get into my practice as well, I'm like, I don't want to work with anyone. Like it felt weird to go out and like make friends. And then I went and like joined this wonderful group, and this was actually the group that I stuck with. Thank you, Laureli, for bringing me in and letting me join, because Susie and I now talk like every other day about writing stories, and Michelle is awesome, and I'm probably going to get Kai's information, start talking to them about stuff. And you know, when you find your group, when you find your people, that's really when you start finding how much power you hold and how much power you hold as a group. It's like, listen to us, we're like building stories on each other. Like Kai brought in focus, Susie brought in her own thing, and then I'm building on top of that, and Michelle's gonna build on top of me. I know this. That's what it means to be a community.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Wyatt. That hermit card, when he brought that to your attention, what does that mean to you?
So I could say the way I have been, the way I could say, the way I focus, I actually meditate every day. I am most of the time alone by myself, only me and my dog, because most of my friends are back home. Yeah, but I do sometimes go out to do fun stuff with people, probably looking out for that social life.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, actually. I love people.
Okay. Let's go into the energies of most of my friends are back home. Okay. How are you feeling about that?
I've just accepted it as just part of my new reality for the past a little bit over 3 years now.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that. There's something here that's the reason why I'm having you go down this path a little bit is because there's something here that's causing a block in terms of your intuitive gifts.
Wow. I am indeed very different to my friends. Like I would say they are more the type of friends that are very, I would say more conservative. They see me as the crazy one or like the one out there. I don't know, but we've been friends for over 15 years.
It's not so much the friendships per se as they're back home. Tell me more about that piece. What do you mean by that? They're back home.
They are in Puerto Rico. I have been in Seattle now for a little bit over 3 years.
Okay. So this card came up. I'm just going to show it to you and I'm going to have you just sit with the energy of it based around the questions I asked you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I could relate that to my family too.
Okay. That's where your block is. And it has to do with the past life energy as well. I don't know if you've explored that. Call it parallel reality, call it what you will, but there's some guilt there about that piece of having to leave them behind. And that is what's causing the block. So I lovingly say, address that and everything else will fall into place.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great. I'll just make a comment about actively growing and building your community of people where you can talk about all these things and you aren't the weirdo, like you're one of the weirdos. So a bunch of us are in the Seattle area and we have in-person fairs. The next one is April 30, May 1 in Bellevue. So I put info in the chat. So come hang out with people like us, meet more of us, come to the things online, like surround yourself with people that are that are like you.
Welcome to this community of weirdos.
Thank you.
It is quite refreshing when somebody walks up and they say, I'm going to talk like this and nobody looks at me weird. So it's like exactly like Wyatt just said, it's like, welcome. So yeah, you've got a community now.
Yeah. I think it's more to that. Yeah, to look to find my tribe because I am not afraid of being seen as the weird one. But I think it's more about because the way I recharge probably is with people, and now I am very limited on my interactions.
Well,
yeah, and the past life, by the way, I'm sorry?
You're very what in your interactions? What word did you say?
That they are very limited now after the pandemic. I feel that has really, working from home,
So I'm just teasing like nudge. We have a panel on Wednesday on business, so intuitive business. So that
I saw it, but I finished my work at 5, and then I need some time to take my dog to the park, and then so I may be able to connect maybe at 6, if that's okay.
Oh, that's totally great. You can come in whenever. I just meant in terms of growing your business.
Yeah. I know. I saw it. And then, by the way, the part that Michelle said about the past life, I have explored that, and I feel that from there is from some of my sadness comes because I don't have anything to be sad right now, and it's been years that I just can't find it, like what it is. Just.
You totally seem like you're someone that has gifts, so that's part of why we're encouraging you to practice too.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for your question. Thanks for leaping up and being here with us. All right, and we've got Martha next.
Hello.
Martha. Hi.
So this is a topic that lately, I mean, it came on right on time, just like all the rest. But lately I've been thinking about a lot about my mom. and my grandmother. And I think, you know, she's trying to reach out to me or something, but I don't discern what it is. The other day I was at the yoga studio, and all of a sudden I got a smell of magnolias. So those remind me of her, because, you know, like she had a tree in front of the house, and when she planted it, it wasn't giving flowers. So it was like everybody was on the expectation, does it have flowers? Does it have flowers? So it was like something that, you know, we all got involved in. I mean, we were little. And the first flower that came out was on Mother's Day in Dominican, you know, like the Dominican Day, Mother's Day. So that always, you know, like that always reminds me of her. And I think she was there with me in that moment. And just, you know, see if she wants to come up and say what she has to say.
I feel like there's something more to that you're wanting to say tonight. Is there anything else here that?
Well, there's when she passed, she was in Dominican. She had lung cancer, and I would, you know, I went a few times, like 7 times in the span of 1 year, not even, less than 6 months or 7 months. And when she passed, I was hoping to talk to her, but when I got there, she hadn't passed. I had asked her for her blessing, and that was it. But I was hoping that I was going to get like a day or two, you know, like that's what I thought, that, you know, at least I had like 1 more day. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for your patience while everyone checks in.
I'm going to start. So namaste.
Hi.
So Martha, the last time we chatted, you were moving careers, and there's something here with that. So that's why I'm asking. So what's new? Tell me a little bit. What's new since we last chatted?
What's new is that I'm actually with another, like you were telling Jose, to get community. I have a friend now, and we are planning on maybe next year getting together, you know, like starting to develop maybe a retreat or something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, in April, right next weekend, I'm gonna go to Fort Lauderdale, because I'm going to do a sound healing course. And I have gotten, you know, like my self-worth, my confidence has grown. I'm building on it, you know, so yeah. I feel more closer to that.
So the 2 cards that I picked, one has to do with loved ones coming in when you're at a low point to kind of like help lift you up. And the other card has to do with when you're devoid of passion, like what can happen in your energy field. So the reason I'm asking you this question is because you're mentioning your mom, and she has this opportunity, right, to lift you up at certain times and to bring in these. It feels like she was very much like you, and the fact that she's very stagey and likes performing and arts and all that kind of thing. And so it's like there's certain moments where she wants to be like, this is me, you know. And so she loves you, and it feels like the more that you're in your element and the more that you're in your passion, the more you're going to be connecting to her. And my question for you, and this is sort of coming through her, is why are you waiting a year to do something that you're passionate about? Like, why not do something sooner? Because she wants you to get into it sooner. So are you like getting involved with some of these in-person events or anything that you said you have a community? Are you starting to make it happen like within the next 6 weeks?
Oh my God. I wish.
What is stopping you? Because she's literally like lovingly like poking you. Like, what's stopping you?
Oh, well, you know, I'm still building on it because, you know, I'm much better, much better, but I'm still working on on the details, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm actually this coming weekend when I'm gonna do the sound healing. Well, it's in 2 weekends actually. I'm hoping that that's gonna, you know, like I feel like excitement. Like
Good.
I feel like that's
I'm
gonna.
excited for you, by the way. Like I'm really excited, and that passion that's coming in. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm hearing is that this event that you're putting on, it's like you have the passion, and yet at the same time, you're minimizing your abilities by playing it safe. And your mom is so like, you can do this, make it bigger, because you're ready, and stop like getting in your own way. So I'm happy for you because you've taken the step, because I know where you weren't even close to that. So I'm very proud of you. And at the same time, your mom was like inspire your passion and just keep going, because bring it, girl. Like you have it. And she really wants you to know that she's your biggest fan. So I hope that helps in some way.
And that does help, because actually, you know, like my confidence has been growing, and lately it's much more up there because I had an incident go on, and then I moved on quicker than I would ever imagine. And like clean slate, you're out of here, and I'm stepping to the next thing. And it was like boom, boom, boom. Everything was synchronicity, and it was amazing. I mean, it's still amazing. And that's what I was thinking, you know, she must be coming in because she, you know, like, I feel like she's proud of what I have accomplished.
She's very proud. And what I'll say, and I'll just end here, is she's really happy that you dropped his dead weight ass. So whatever that means, good job. she's really happy because you got rid of your anchor that was holding you down, and now the sky's the limit. So congratulations.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. We've got Susie and Kai next. And I want to mention there are a few other people that are raising your hands. We only have the practitioners raise their hands so that I know what order they want to go in. If you have a question about the logistics, or if you want to get in line to ask a question, you can go ahead and message me in chat, and I'll explain about how anything works. And I'll put the link in the chat again for how to pay to ask a question. And we've got 3 other people in line now. We've got Anita, Goddess, Yasmin, and Mary G, just so everyone knows. Go ahead, Susie, and then Kai.
Yeah. Hey, Martha. I was getting a lot of the same thing that Michelle was getting. The cards I pulled were full moon inversed. So full moon is about completion, and you're releasing a bunch of stuff. So you have done that, and it is time to start that new chapter, and you are doing it. The timeline, you know, Michelle was getting that whole like go get him kind of thing, and I'm not going to argue with that. But I also got a card that's called Dreamtime or Creation. So you get to dream as much as you want with this and set those goals to be. No, she's like, no, it's not about goals. It's like dreaming big. So she really wants you to like go there and do it, because this is what you've been working up for all this time. And you've had those previous experiences, not as mistakes, but those are all lessons, so that you can build on them, being able to know when to release something, being able to know when to move on, and understanding what serves you best. And I would also suggest that looking at the sound healing course is a way for you to break through the stuck energy that you've got. It's a tool for you to use so that you can break that stuff away, and so that you can not explode, but certainly like burst in on the scene and find your true and complete, not complete, because you're always growing.
Yes.
But this is a big deal for you so that you can move forward and realize those dreams and that karma you've got going. So
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah, my throat chakra, you know, like I'm taking like language also with Ashley. So
good.
I think that's gonna be like a all sound, you know, like sound healing plus light language. It's like
I took the class too, and it has really come to be of incredible use for me. So well done. Yeah. Excellent. There we go. Cool.
mm-hmm.
Thanks, Susie. Kai's next.
Hey, Martha. What I got for you was that your family, I completely agree with everything that's been said so far. I also just want to add that, you know, the reason why your family is stepping forward is because they are letting you know that they support you. It's like, it almost feels like when you were a little girl and mom was holding your hand, like, come on, little girl, let's go. We're going. This is what we're doing. It feels like, you know, your mother, your grandmother, and actually several generations behind them are like, yes, finally, we have somebody moving forward. Here we go. You know, so it's like this accomplishment that you're working on may seem like it's, you know, it's just for me, but really it's not just for you. It's for everybody. It's for generations of the people who have done all the things that they have done, all the things that they have lived through, so that you could succeed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so, I mean, I'm not to say this as, you know, putting pressure on you, like, oh my God, now you must succeed because the entire family will fail if you do not. You know, it's not like that. It's like, we have done all we can to give you the best opportunity, and we want you to take it. If you choose not to, we will love you anyway. We will love you no matter what you do, no matter, you know, whether you succeed or fail or whatever. We love you no matter what. But we have given you this opportunity, and baby, we want you to take it. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what I got for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Wyatt's got something?
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm not like super called to answer your question, Martha, but I want to say hi anyway. It's been a while. So kind of building on the end of what Kai just said, you are the culmination of your ancestors. You have so much power, so much bloodline, so much magic. You can do anything with that. Now, I do want to say I have to listen to my own words right now as well. So, like, I get it. But, like, you are the culmination of your ancestors. And this is the first card that I had pulled. And this is the Four of Wands. This is celebration. There's a big old grand celebration coming in, kind of around you. Your ancestors celebrating, your people are celebrating for whatever reason. And they're really celebrating you in your hard work and your determination of life, essentially, to get what you want. And even if it is hard, I mean, frick, I want to be an actor. You know how difficult that is? Like, you should still celebrate every single step you make, though. Celebrate the life that you have and what your ancestors are building upon, what you have built upon your ancestors, you know? Keep going. You got this. That's kind of what they're like supporting you to do. So
thank you.
Maybe just a quick question, Martha. How did you choose sound healing?
Well, my guides, actually, Shaynor, what's her name? I forget her name. Shaynor?
Yeah.
Yes. She did an Akashic reading on me, and they nudged me to go to sound healing.
Mm-hmm. And how does it feel to you when you presence your trip coming up?
I'm excited. I'm very excited. Yes. I mean, yeah, I'm excited about, you know, what I'm going to learn. And when Ashley was doing the light language too, I think that was like, those two are going to complement each other. Yeah.
Great.
Yesterday with the group, we were doing some practices and I did stuff that I'm like, so I'm doing stuff that I'm like, I don't know. I never thought I would, you know.
It's great. It's great.
But it's funny that Wyatt mentioned he wants to be an actor. When I was a little girl, I was like the one performing for my siblings. I was the one who was always, you know, like doing all these crazy, I think with channeling. So I don't know.
That's great. I just want to mention for everyone too, some of the names of the other people you're mentioning are some of our other practitioners who have been to some of our other events. It's great. Thank you so much, Martha.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Anita. Where is Anita? Oh, there you are. Can you turn on your video and I'll bring you up on Spotlight? Can I ask you to turn on your video? Yeah, if you're ready, Anita.
Video.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you now. Great. Hi.
Hi.
What is your question?
Yeah, so I just would like to ask you that going back like probably a year ago, I decided to do my readings myself and I paid a mentor. So I had my best intention to start up. And so I've been practicing it, but only for friends and family, but not family, like people, you know, they pass it down to other people. And then my husband was a great supporter. And then all of a sudden he just passed away. And so I'm just confused. And the question is, help me. What am I going to do with this? So.
Who did you say just passed away?
My husband.
Your husband. Yeah. How recently?
3 months ago. And he was a very important person in my life, not because he was my husband, but he was basically my everything. And, you know, one part of it is when somebody grieving, I'm very forgetful and I can't see myself reliable. I forget basic things. It's a widow's brain. It's called the widow's brain. So physically, I know I need to go through the grief, but in another hand, this is a massive challenge because the one thing I trusted more than anything is the spirit world. And on a daily basis, I invited the ancestors, healers, everybody into my circle to help us. And I know death is, we're all gonna die one day, so I am okay with that. So I need some help with this, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. I feel sad hearing about your loss. I'm gonna say my partner's husband died suddenly. It's now many years ago, and it's just been a really big deal, and just a big part of her process and opening, and yeah.
It wasn't just about him passing. I've been his kind of caregiver for years now, and we did everything together. And it's not just the grieving part, but also I haven't earned any money for the last, God knows, years. So, and also is my potential. So it's everything with his death got shaken. And I am strong and well balanced, but still I need your input on this, please.
So Anita, I'm gonna tell you what I'm picking up. So immediately I saw what looked like a sea, like a beach or a sea. I don't know if this is where you brought him or if this is where you enjoyed each other, like some kind of a oceanscape, landscape. But it feels very special to the two of you. I also saw like some type of lung water, like water in lungs or something going on with lung issues. So I needed to ask, like, is this two separate things? Because it's water related. And it was like, yes, they're two separate things. And then the second thing is that because he has passed over and you haven't gotten any strong connections with him, you are questioning everything right now in terms of, is the spiritual world real and why am I not connecting with him and what's happening? Robin Williams was in this movie, What Dreams May Come, and they show this really great moment where people have to kind of go through different processes of healing in order to ascend. Because you are so strongly connected to the spiritual world, and he believed you, but he didn't have this gift. He wants to meet you where you are. So it's like he's going through this ascension process to be able to meet you where you are. But what's happened is you have descended. So it's almost like the two of you are going in opposite directions in terms of frequency right now. He's ascending and you've descended because of grief. And it's like two ships that have passed in the night that didn't even realize that they were passing. So I just want to tell you that I can feel him. I can see him. He absolutely loves you. He's gone nowhere. And having worked with people who have lost loved ones as quickly as 4 or 5 weeks into it, where you are right now, you're still in the grieving stages. And what I tell people is cross the sea. And maybe this is why I'm getting the sea. Cross the sea of grief. Cross it. Allow yourself to move through the grieving stage and use your grief as a way to connect with him by going into memories of him, by smelling his shirt, which you do, picking up on his scent. Use that to cross and to meet him and trust and know that he is with you. He is with you. But because of your, frankly, your anger and your just, this feels so unfair, which it does. You know, I can't, first of all, imagine what you're going through. All I can do is give you sympathy. I can step into your shoes briefly and feel your pain, but until you actually experience it, nobody understands. So I want to just tell you that as much as you believe in the spiritual world, your love of it has been shattered because of this. You never thought that he'd be working with you from the other side. You always thought that he would stay in this particular world with you. And what I will say is that from a soul contract perspective, if you go in, when you go in, because there'll be a point when you do, you're going to remember that this was it's all playing out the way that the two of you intended, so that from the other side, he can ascend and he can meet you where you are, and he's going to be helping you. It feels like a twin flame relationship, which is why it's so painful. He met you briefly so you could remember him. And so the two of you could then attune later on when he's on the other side. So please don't give up hope. You're so new into the grief process, but you can use your grief to meet him where he is, if that makes sense.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm working on myself. I do a lot of energy work and meditate a lot. So, and I know he's keeping me balanced. We were the solar opposites of things. And as you said, it's like a twin flame relationship. this is a type of a relationship where Sunday comes and he has to go back to work on Monday, and we are both miserable. It's any separation, like, other people, they have enough of each other for a certain period of time. We could have been together for like 24/7, and we never got bored with each other or hated each other, or I cannot even explain these kind of relationships. And I see him myself, and I work a lot on myself, but I'm just a human being. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Got Susie and then Kai.
Hi, Anita. I agree with you for losing people. It's not you're realizing it's not a fix them up real quick thing. This is a process. So you get used to these feelings of missing them. And I understand that. That's part of the shadow work that you're being asked to do, is to go look through it. He is there to help you, to remind you that there is still things to be done in your body in this moment. See, he sends you love, but to have compassion for yourself. You say you're working on yourself. Allow yourself the space to rest too. Strength is I think at some points it's kind of overrated. Do you have people around you who can support you emotionally, is my question.
Yes, but a kind of, as you said, until you lose someone who you shared everything with,
Mm-hmm.
a very special person, nobody can understand this. And people are saying silly things that they mean good, but I would rather not talk about what's happening. And the funny thing, when somebody grieves, it's like you have to have the right food in you and avoid anything that would stimulate you to a level where you get upset, like sugar, coffee. And so yes, I have got people, but
They don't feel like they're your tribe, though. They don't feel like they're that community who's going to support you in the way you need.
When somebody is a psychic and the grieving is different from, it's different. Or my dad died 2.5 years ago, and I saw my mom grieving completely differently from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Jeff, when he died for 3 days, I was in bed with him. He was in a perfectly peaceful place, and it was one of the most peaceful times of my life. So I see things and everything, but people are very shallow nowadays.
It's their fear. They don't know. They don't understand it. They've not experienced it the way you have. So journeying, maybe you get to journal if these people who are who are talking to you and saying really stupid things. I've experienced that, and I had to go look at other techniques and other things. I think that's about all I can offer right now, but to give yourself that space. And I understand there's the practicality of it too. So focusing on maybe getting something done today, just one thing, whether it's rest or eat or taking care of a task in your home, in your life.
Yeah, I balance myself out. It's just I would like to see your point of view as psychics.
Okay.
When it comes to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pass it over to somebody else because I've said what I've got. So
yeah, and I want to ask more too. Your question, it started off a bit almost about like how you might develop yourself to share your work. And then it's like, how do you share your work given that you haven't worked for so long and now you need to, and that it's so soon that so recently that he passed, and that your work even has to do with connecting with him, being on the other side. It's just like they're all mixed in there, and maybe you're wanting to see what arises for us on any of those things. Yeah. Okay, we've got Kai and then Wyatt.
Hi, Anita. What I got for you is that both of you, both yourself and him, are on you guys have things to do. You know, just because he's passed away doesn't mean his job is done. He has things that he has to do on the other side as well. And you have things that you need to do here on this side. And so once the two of you kind of, you know, finish your respective jobs, then you can come back together in a way that helps you and helps him at the same time. The way I view when people pass is, you know, there's a living, there's the land in between, which is a transition point. And then from there, they continue all the way through to what I refer to as the land of spirit. And they need to go all the way through, do their life review, learn their lessons, get the bigger picture of, you know, remember all the contracts that they signed and made and yada, yada, yada agreements. And then at that point, you know, if they choose to, they can come back and support us. But in the meantime, we still have life to live. We have things we need to do. We got to pay the bills and all that other stuff. So this point in time where you're at is the point where at some point the two of you agreed that you would separate for a short time so that you could get your stuff done, he can get his stuff done, and then you guys can come back together and work together in a different way. So as far as your gifts are concerned, you know, all that stuff can actually be set aside for right now so that you can move through your emotions, your grief, and handle all the everyday stuff that you need to do. And then you'll start to see some of that stuff come back in, because then you'll start to get more messages. You'll start to get more reminders of him. And then that will be the point where you're like, okay, it's time to allow this stuff to come back in, because you should feel more emotionally stable at that point, is what my sense is. So this portion that you're going through is temporary. And during that time, it's a time when you need to focus on yourself and what you need to do. This other stuff that you're thinking about, you know, connecting with the other side and all that, you're always connected. You're never not connected, really. But when it becomes more solid is when you are in a better place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to connect with it again. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Like Jeff had a near-death experience in his 30s, and he was an alcoholic at that time, and he died from alcohol poisoning. And so we have a good idea about what's going on the other side, or he had a good idea, and I backed him to have another near-death experience in the hospital. He wasn't conscious anymore. And so the spirit world is real, I know, but for us to reach out, we need to be mind science, like sun-minded.
Yep.
And I'm not there. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I had a similar experience as you, Anita. Not the same, but similar in loss and grief. And to this day, I am still very... I'm starting to regain my power, but a lot of like the widow's mind and whatnot, the forgetfulness is very much real. I get it.
Yep.
When I was in the midst of it at about 3 months, I was still crying every day. I was still just like beating the ground, screaming at God. And But the thing that helped me most is still continuing your practice, even if it's just going through the motions, sitting at your altar every day, lighting the candle every day, not for the reason of connecting with spirits, but because it is a solid foundation of repetition. And you're able to latch onto this repetition because it's the same thing happening over and over and over again. And you're able to experience this and not forget about it. And it's simple and it's easy. And it's able to ground you into the day.
Yes.
That was the biggest thing. While in the midst of crying and screaming at God, I was still crying and screaming at God, but I was lighting my incense.
That's how it goes.
Yep.
You get up in the morning with a knot in your stomach, like, yep, and then put the headphone on and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do your daily rituals, even if it's just.
Yes, I do. I have to, otherwise I would go mad.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I want to say, I had a slightly different vision to Michelle when it came to the sea. To me, being a very heavy water person in my own astrology chart and everything, crying is great, and let it out. Give the sea of grief a physical manifestation through your tears. That is what I did, and that is a-okay. Kind of the Ace of Cups, even though, well, you can't really see crap with this lighting, but anyway, the Ace of Cups came through, and I'm not taking it in the traditional sense of, oh, love's beginnings. No, it's you feel love, you have love. It's this very deep well of love. Mm-hmm. And it's not the grief that you feel is not really the fact that you can't feel him. It's more of you can no longer connect the same way, the physical way. It's not having those same words. It's the loss of those physical representations of connection that we experience grief. And with the moon coming in, it's this ebb and flow. You feel the ebb and flow of your spirituality waning and coming in, but also the cycles. The moon is cyclical. We live off of the moon. If we could change our calendars to a lunar calendar, I think the world would be much better off. Cycles are everything, so allow yourself to go through them. And then I do kind of am going to voice, I think it was Susie, maybe it was Kai, I don't know. Kind of in different words, be greedy with yourself. Be greedy in the fact that it is okay to not talk, and it's okay to scream, and it's okay to keep your energy to yourself at this time, because you're going to need it, and you do need it. And you know you need it. And your insights might be off about other people, but that's fine, because you don't need to read for other people. You're just there for yourself and to help yourself continue through. So keep going.
The funny thing is, if you lost someone, lover, it is a completely different kind of a grief than any other grief, especially when you were in love and if you were very, very close. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking maybe it's something for you. I just want to share this with you. Maybe you should, or I know, find a way to help people to come over their griefs. A good way of sharing my grief with others, to qualify up. I will find a way to for a qualification or something where I actually I will be a consultant for grief. Mm-hmm. Because people need it. People need it way much more than you know. And so I signed up with some of the grief Facebook websites, and people don't know how to grieve, or it's like an unspoken thing. There is a need for it, and I look at these people like, thanks God, this gift is gonna help me through this. and Jeff from the other side. And I know I'm going to get through this easier than others, but some people, they grieve for months, for years, and their grief just goes downhill. And there's a need for finding a way how you can help people with their grief process. And this is just something for you to know. If you, anyways, someone who experienced this, they are in a different place from who didn't. Anyways, thank you. You have all of you. Thank you.
One more thing I'd love to share. I do have a friend that's trained in doing grief work with people, and my partner, who I mentioned, lost her husband. She's now training to do grief work. And you mentioned in the beginning too that like the state of your brain and just like how you can't plan right now. I was going to offer, if you wanted, like whenever you feel ready, because yes, sometimes helping other people is part of what helps us continue to move through all the feelings. You can always go on something like Facebook and do Facebook Live, or do it inside a group, like where people are grieving, and just offer your work for free for the people that want to show up. And you can offer it specifically to people who have lost others, and no pressure, and just let whatever wants to come through you come through.
Yes.
And that way you don't have to plan. You do it as long as you want to. There's no promises. And you just do it in whatever way serves you.
Yes. But it's for people who went through this, it's easier because on the other side, there is the person who I love the most in my life. So it doesn't feel like work. But for other people, if it didn't experience this, it feels like just like they're sucking the energy out of you. So anyways, yes, good idea.
It's only, if it feels like it's of service to you. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. And thank you for all of you. And I deeply appreciate you. And I'm so happy that I eventually signed up for this. And it's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We have Goddess Yasmin next, and then Mary. Oh, there you are.
Namaste. Hi, everybody. I'm not surprised that it's 8:14 that I'm getting connected. Because 8 is the vision with Archangel Michael, and 14 is purification, and also how old my child is. So basically, over the last few years, I have been working to develop my gifts. I had a very, very rough spiritual awakening that landed me in and out the mental hospital. So they had diagnosed me with bipolar schizophrenic disorder. I still don't agree with that. I tell them I have a different belief system. They don't know what clairs are or anything. So it's like, that's not what I want. But I'm having a hard time now because I'm seeing so many synchronicities in everything. Like when you're talking, I'm talking at the same time, saying the same thing. That freaks me out. I'm also like seeing spirit do synchronicities through license plates, like BYS 53031. Bring Yasmin Soul 530, my birthday, 31 on my vision board. Divine Might Foretold with Unconditional Trust with Mother Mary, you know. And I've been feeling like I'm under like some type of spiritual attack, because I'll say bad. I'm like, yeah, bad. I'm gonna beat a demon. And they said, no, you're going to bury a daughter. And like that right there, when that voice comes and tells me a negative for every positive, it's exhausting. When I tell you it's in everything that I do, it's like literally in everything that I do now. Like I have to be mindful. And even like when I was looking at the name Wyatt, I was like, oh yeah, Wyatt was the in the charm, they had like white lighters and stuff. And they're like, where's Yasmin at time travel? Where you at take time? And so it's like, I really don't know what's going on. I have been practicing in other mediumship groups, and I've been hoping to get a message from my dad, like with some type of guidance, but I just feel like they're like, yes, like you're like, yes, enlightened soul, or you expire soon. And it's not, and I've been having the worst nightmares ever since I saw my ex-boyfriend back in August. I've been having the worst nightmares me and my daughter being taken, kidnapped, brutally murdered. Like she's crying for help. I can't help her. And like when I wake up, they say, oh, you know that's going to come true. And I said, no, that's not going to come true. That's not going to come true. And then today I pulled the dream card and it was like, something is going to be revealed, all of this. I just want to know why it is when I pray, because he said, oh, I pray away my demons and I sleep like a baby. Why when I pray for, and the like, even when I say pray, it's a priest, rise, oh, Yasmin, like I'm supposed to be here to raise the dead and have all this stuff. Like it's overwhelming. Like I need to know why I can't just have these going away. Like I asked my spirit team, my spirit guides, my angels, my ancestors, I asked them, please, no more nightmares. And it's like I'm having nightmares all the time, to the point where I agreed to let them put me on medicines for nightmares. Like, and I don't like it, you know. Like I told them, I'm a shaman. Like I be traveling between worlds while I'm physically here in the spirit, in the physical world. And you know, I had a friend that acknowledged that, but they don't, you know, they discredit what I do. That's fine, but I'm just worried. Hold on, my phone got off.
Yeah, we can still hear you and see you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just really nervous and worried because, like, seriously, like, oh, they're like STD. Yeah, slay the demons, save the daughter. Then I start to feel a stabbed to death, you know, and it's like I don't like going through those.
Oh yeah, good.
Huh?
Sorry, hold on, muting someone. Someone got unmuted, and we've got a practitioner ready to answer when you feel complete. Go ahead.
Okay, I also have another question about that too, because so then like Saturday death, everything, like I've done some mediumship readings and I met people like after the reading that it was for. But also another thing that I've been working on doing is working to bring home missing and exploited children. And I feel like to work in human trafficking and sex trafficking, like these are things that I survived, and so I feel called to go do that, but I don't know where it's going. And like I had my TikTok and I did a TikTok and I was like, oh yeah, 369, oh 369, we're on 0.9, and 9 was death and self-preservation rates, whatever. It had 13,000 views, but I couldn't even get 100 followers from it. So it's like I felt like they were looking at me from a different side and like, oh, this girl don't realize that she's about to get it. She's crazy or whatever. But it's just like I don't know how to stop these dreams, and I want to know if my guides, my ancestors, my loved ones, like I said, am I crossing over soon? Like what's going on? Because my spiritual connection is so strong, but I'm just trying to stay grounded with it. But it's literally like as I'm driving, and then I had put on my vision boards a red truck and a red car, and it's like now I always see a red truck and a red car. Like it's like all of these things, and I feel like spirit's trying to get my attention. But like what really bothers me, because I'd be like with Michael Jackson, we'll be chilling and be like bad, and then I say bad, and then they say bury a daughter. Like that's my big fear, and I just don't want that to come to fruition. So I just want, if anybody has any, I don't know, ideas or any practices that I could do, because I have a hard time meditating. Like as soon as I open up to meditate, all these different spirits come, and I ask for only spirits in the light, benevolent spirits, you know, not having people that wish ill upon me, because like I could feel them wishing ill upon me. And so I like ask my pendulum lots of different questions, and then I pull my cards and I do that, and then like I do readings. And like I was at the psychic fair the last time.
I think that it would be really good. Can we share some things with you, because we've got some things coming through.
Okay. Okay. 20. I will. I'll wait.
Okay, go ahead, Kai.
Okay. Hi, Goddess Jasmine. The first thing I want to say is, girl, take a breath. Like take a breath, like for real, because you know, like your brain is like out of control right now.
It is.
So the first thing that I want to tell you is like, as soon as you started talking, like the first thing that I got, okay, I'm like straight up gonna freak you out right now. You're talking about being under attack. Yes, you are. Yeah. Okay, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is, the reason why you're under attack is because you have no energy protection. You have basically opened yourself up like a wide open double door, and told everybody to come on in. So that's what's happened. So what we need to do, well, if you're looking for stuff to do, here's the first thing you do. If you don't know how to clear yourself, because right now, what I see on you, you actually have two massive size demons attached to you. And they are the ones who are constantly telling you all the things that you keep trying to counteract. It's because they keep telling you that over and over and over. They are also the reason why you have nightmares. I'm surprised your whole family is not having nightmares for what I see attached to you. I see stuff in your house. You need to get your house cleared. Okay, so that's the other thing. So number one, you got to get yourself and your house cleared. Number two, you need to work on serious energy shields. Okay. Number three, as part of your practice as a medium, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you set a hard rule intention that you will only speak to those beings that are for the highest and best for whatever you're doing, that no one else is allowed in and nothing can get past your shields. When you just randomly open yourself up, you allow anything and everyone to come at you. And that's what's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But like when I open up my channel, I tell my spirit guides and loved ones and angels that I only wanted to talk people in the highest, greatest light for the best.
Okay, and that's good. Except right now, you're not a clean channel because you have things attached to you. So that's why I gave you the steps in order. Clear yourself, clear your house, and then that intention that you've been using is perfect, but it can't work because of what's attached to you.
Well, I clear myself with sage energy spray and
no, sweetie. You're past the sage stage. You need like serious, like you need like a shaman or somebody whose spiritual ability is so strong as to be almost unbreakable to get those things off of you at this point. Did we lose her?
She might be writing something down. Let's see. Okay. You're muted.
Okay. Sorry, my daughter actually video chatted me because I usually call her by now. But you said I'm beyond sage. Like what is?
Yes.
Did I need?
Because because when I do clearings of people, like, you know what, if I'm doing like a house blessing or just like a general blessing, you can use sage, you can use lavender, you can use like, you know, general stuff. But for what I see attached to you, like those things they'll laugh in the face of those things. So what you need is like somebody who's like super strong spiritually to do a blessing on you to remove those things from you. Because you have, you know, like I said, you've got two huge entities. They've got cords attached to you. Like I see all kinds of stuff attached to your aura. So you need like massive energy clearing. I mean, your intention to do all the things that you want to do is fantastic and you have power. And that's why you have these attachments, because they're trying to take you out. That's what they're trying to do.
I feel that. I do, but like,
yeah, so those are your steps. If you want to be like a complete and clear channel and be able to do the things that you've talked about, like helping to find missing people and help, you know, stop human trafficking and all that kind of stuff, you need to be a clear channel first, which means you got to take care of your stuff, clean your house.
Okay, I'm just having a hard time. Like, I don't know who I would turn to if not sage and spray. Like,
well, who is in your tribe? Who else do you know? Or do you have any shamans around you? Do you have? I mean, this is work that I do, and I'm sure that there's other people around that do that as well. You know, so you just need to find someone who does this kind of work and say, you know, I need your help. Can you do this for me? And you know, and get that done, because it's, in my experience, stuff like this only gets worse.
Right.
So now is the time to handle it.
Is it to the point? I mean, what, do I need to be baptized? Like, I don't understand. Like, my house.
I mean, if you are, well, see, because it depends. I think the strength of the religious or of the spiritual belief is what makes a difference. So if you lean more towards Christian stuff, then yeah, find a pastor or a priest who can come and do the house blessing on you and do a blessing on you. If you are more like Wiccan, find a coven. If you are, whatever your spiritual base, whatever your cosmology consists of, go to the strongest person as part of that and ask them to help you. And whoever that happens to be, like if you're into Santeria or whatever it is, well, like whatever the base of your cosmology is, that's who you should go to, in my opinion.
Well, the lady said that that someone had, did voodoo on me and black magic, but my whole thing is, can't I just talk to my ancestors, spirit guides, and angels and ask them to remove the demonic forces that are with me?
Nope.
Because I did a court ceremony too before.
It's like there's some, like the ancestors only have so much power on the other side. It's like, they'll step in and help you as much as they can, but you actually have like physical manifestations. The things that are happening in your house, which means they are on this plane of existence. Therefore, they must be banished from this plane of existence.
Okay. This is going to be, I don't know how I'm going to find somebody to do that. I don't know.
I mean, do you have people around you?
No, well, the people I got around me are pretty much just like my team of doctors and nurses.
Do you have mentors, or who's your teachers? I mean, there must be somebody in your community, in the general metaphysical community that can direct you or help you with something.
I don't have anybody like that. Like I have people online who are like, oh yeah, I could help remove your energy with spell work and stuff like that, but I don't do spell work. And
like, Kai, feel free, you want to keep sharing. I just know Wyatt, you mentioned extraction, and then I wanted, if there are more voices that want to be in this space too.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from everybody.
Yeah, no, I said what I needed to say. So if anybody else wants to jump in, feel free.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I'll just kind of hop in. Extraction is kind of what Kai was talking about, is removing those negative entities, removing what no longer serves you, to be able to move forward and have room for a power recall and soul retrieval. And those things are taking up a ton of space. Like I don't see individual entities, I see a cloud. There's this cloud, there's this pit of fanged snakes in a stomach, in a heart that is just not serving you. So to get rid of those, you need to have those ripped out of you. And kind of what Kai was saying, and to address your question, you cannot do it alone sometimes. Sometimes you need to have it done for you. Sometimes pieces of yourself and things need to have permission by someone else to return, because there is trauma, there is expectations that those spirit fractures, I suppose, cannot return without that permission. And with that being said, with those spirits, having a team of people come in and extract those with you, and having multiple people come in, the power is going to be exponential, because when we have our guides, we have our spirits coming through us. We are hollow bones when we are clear channels. We are hollow bone for people, for our spiritual tribe, our community, to come through us and do work for us. So when we have multiple people doing that, it's easier to take those things out and then have them transmuted, so they're no longer coming after us, kind of thing.
Well, so, I had a doctor that when I was in the hospital, when they were wheeling me in, he's like, you're possessed by demons and only a priest could get it out of you. Like, that's what he said. A medical doctor told me that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, excuse my French, screw that. Because it's other people's belief is not going to be your belief.
Right.
So with that said, if you think you need to go to a priest, go to a priest. Don't take the recommendations of what this random doctor says. Also, a doctor is a doctor and not really a spiritual advisor.
Right.
Sorry. I mean, they could be, but like in those instances, I lean towards not. But be very like direct, be very, when you're choosing these people to come and help you, be very intentional in who you're bringing in. So, I mean, you're on a panel of practitioners right now. I mean, look at these wonderful people. There's Susie and there's Kai and there's Michelle, and so many people have so many different practices that could help. Now, of course, with boundaries and whatnot, you are in a community right now that you can ask for help. You don't have to lean on yourself. And there's a big thing there that we could talk about later. But
then where are you physically, Goddess Yasmin?
Oh, I'm in Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Washington.
Great. There are even lots of us that are right here.
mm-hmm.
So
Okay, well, I would definitely like to figure this out because I feel that negative energy attached to me, and like I've been trying to get rid of it, but it just seems like, you know, it's not going anywhere. Trying to
have Michelle go in a moment, but Kai, where are you?
I'm in the Seattle area.
Yeah, so Goddess Yasmin, there are people nearby, right? So Kai,
okay.
go ahead.
I'd be happy to like pay somebody to come help me with this because I feel like it's hindering me from the things that I need to do every day.
Well, let's see. We've got two more questions too, and I know Michelle wanted to share something, so let's have Michelle go, and then.
Yeah, hi. I just want to jump in real quick and say that been there, done that. What you're experiencing, been completely open. I want to just let you know that you're human. Don't want you to feel picked on at all. It is a rookie mistake. That being said, what I also want to mention is that your connection with your dad and your desire to connect with him, because you connected through your dad, through his demons, because of his alcoholism, et cetera, as a kid and all the abuse that you experienced, that's the reason that you have this path, is because you think that's the only way that you can connect with your dad. That's wrong. So as soon as you banish that belief, a lot of these demons can't even connect to your frequency anymore. So I send you lots of love and lots of blessings, and hopefully that resonated.
Yeah, that does resonate. Like I had a hard time. So it's like, I don't know, nobody picks up on him whenever I go to mediums. Like, so okay, I'm sorry. Susie, were you about to say something?
Goddess Yasmin, truly, I've got nothing that's up leveling anything that they've said. They have, Kai and Wyatt have just gone straight to the problem, and that Michelle said that it's part of your dad's thing. Okay, so there is that feeling of guilt that you weren't. I feel like there was a place that you were at, like you could not fix him, you could not help him, you weren't who who you thought he wanted you to be. That's a big chunk of it, but you know, extracting him and extracting these demons. Yeah, I would say go to Kai, because I think she's far better equipped than certainly me, that she could help you certainly get through that. But I wish you well, and I hold you in the light of source, so that it's, and I don't want to say easy, because it's not going to be easy, and I'm not going to lie. So yeah, thanks for really blowing the doors open here.
I said easy, enlighten all souls, Yasmin. Like I'm tired of I'm tired of the acronyms for everything. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us and letting us support you. It's a lot.
Would you be open to me trading information, my phone number with you? Or
Yeah, absolutely. If you really want the help, I am open and willing to help you.
I really do, because I really do feel like I have like demons inside me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I just put Kai's information in the chat again. It's right there at the bottom of the chat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and you can always put yours in too. Write her directly if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, you can contact me, you know, and we can figure something out, and I can definitely help you with this.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, we've got Mary, and then we've also got Yeshua in line. Right, Mary. All right, Mary.
Hi, folks.
Hi.
Hi. So I don't know how to follow that, but that was very interesting. Though I'm glad, Kai. I'm glad you're here, and Wyatt too. All of you guys. What I'm looking. So it's coming up with my mom's birthday's coming up, and her passing. It'll be 2 years in June. It was 3.5 or 4 years for my dad passing. And I know they're with me, but like somebody else said, or like you guys said, it's like that physicalness that is just not there anymore. But the yearning for me to have them here hurts.
It does. Yeah.
And I guess I'm just trying to figure out if there's, like I said, I know they're with me. I can feel them with me sometimes. Like the other young lady was just saying, you know, about numbers. I work for the Red Cross, so whenever I see date of births come through, it's like that's how I know, you know, that they're close. It's if their date of birth is coming up for these folks, it's like mom or dad's with me, you know. So yeah, I don't know. And I had a couple other people that have passed that, you know, just broke my heart. That's all. And yeah, am I still grieving? Absolutely. It sucks.
Yeah. Do you have any particular request from us?
I just didn't know whether or not either mom or dad would have anything for me.
Go ahead, Susie.
Hey, Mary.
Hey, Susie.
Pulled some cards, and one of them was about reflection. And you've done a whole lot of internalizing here. And the next card was about all the things that are submerged. So there's a whole lot more for you to be able to look at. I know overall your energy is really strong, but there's this moment that you're having when, okay, here's a milestone. This makes you sad. But the final card I pulled was perspective. It's the Milky Way. So getting a grander perspective on it, like their impact on you, who they know that they had a big impact on you and they appreciate that, but now to share that impact with the others around you. So it's trying to get out of yourself just a bit so that you can share that, because they were like banging pans around you one time, right? Okay, I remember that reading. So they're saying, yeah, it's time for you to shake it up for yourself, because that's sharing their love for you and your love for them, and it's an opportunity to go out there and to spread that sort of thing. Your mom really doesn't want you to feel bad for her. They're both like, oh, come on, honey. let's get out there. Go. It's not quite the go get them that Joy's mom had, but it's definitely, it's okay. They're giving you permission to get out there and to share this lesson, this lifetime, this karma that you had with them. It's okay to share it with other people and bring them up and uplift them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got. Thanks.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Michelle.
So it feels like, and I don't know if this is your mom, because you said you have a lot of people who have passed, and I'm just hearing this very loud, very funny, like you can't help but join in, laugh. So whoever this is who has like this really loud, very loud laugh is like with you. I'm seeing card playing, like lots of card playing, like that's how people got together and socialized and interacted. And I'm also sensing that there's something going on with your health right now that you have concerns about. They just want you to get it checked out. So those are the three things I got. So hopefully they're helpful in some way.
They are. The card thing is they all used to sit around and play pinochle. And the health thing is I have a bad hip. So yes, most definitely. Okay. And I am getting it checked out. And the laughter, that's my dad.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Michelle. Thanks.
Go ahead, Kai.
Hi, Kai.
Hi. So what I got for you is just, I got this like this overwhelming feeling of pride, like that's my girl. You know, that's what I got for you. Just like this, did you see her? She's amazing. She's awesome. That's my girl. That's mine. That's my kid. That's what I got. I got this huge thing of like pride and love and like, oh my gosh, like see what we did? Like I'm patting myself on the back. My kid's so great. That's what I got.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just waiting to see if there's anything else. Maybe it.
I don't really have too much more to add, but like the kind of going along with the patting on the back, this is the Empress card from my deck. It's very much a pride thing. Like you're coming into yourself, or you have come into yourself, and there's this sense of pride, and you are this this, how do I want to put it, picture of divine femininity, and they're just very proud.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing that caught my attention is that you said you worked for the Red Cross. I didn't know you worked for the Red Cross.
Yeah, I take blood. Yeah. So that's, yeah. And I'm standing on my feet all day, which is what why the hip is bothering the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's appreciating all that you do for so many people.
Yes. There you go. That I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mary. All right, Joshua. Where are you? Oh, here you are. Okay, great.
Greetings.
Great. What is your question?
My question is, well, I need a confirmation. I sense that I have expanded in my consciousness in some kind of way. I had this dream, and in this dream, I got up and I went to the door. I opened up the door, and I was looking at myself. And ever since that dream, I've been saying, I have come home to myself. I've embraced myself. today, for the first time, I actually felt my soul having a conversation with me. I actually felt my soul have a conversation. And my soul was basically telling me about someone else that was going through something. And it was, it was stating that she needs to be aware that there's a pattern. There's a pattern here. So I was like, why do I need to even have, it just, but it seemed like we've been having a conversation all the time. I've been with my soul all the time. Nevertheless, I spoke to this person and she confirmed everything that I said to her. And it just blew my mind. And I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm in the same place. Not only that, I'm an Aries moon. So, there was a time where I would listen to Capricorn readings, but now they're like, because I'm a Capricorn sun, but they're like, who are they talking about? They're not talking about me. So I went over to the Aries readings, and every reading that I came to was on point. And I'm like, I have moved from where I was. There has been some type of expansion. So I just need a confirmation.
Great. Why? Yeah, you got your hand up first. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, may I ask your pronouns?
My what?
Your pronouns.
Yeah. What do you mean?
They, them, she, her. Like, do you go by they, them, or she, her?
Oh no, I go by me. I don't play into that.
No, I like it. I just wonder, because what I'm about to do is very significant, and what was going on in my head is they got this. Like, you have this glow about you it's very infectious. I was looking at Kai and everyone else, and there's like this faint to very big smiling effect, and you're very, very you rub off on other people very easily. And so I just want to tell you, like, absolutely, you've expanded. There's this, I had the same glow way long ago. It really wasn't that long ago, like 3 years, when I did ayahuasca, and I haven't had or really felt that much of a glow since I started coming into myself as well, and like what I'm meant to be doing. So yes, I get this, and yes, you're going there, and you're already there. You're glowing very bright. So I just want to let you know, like, I see it. I feel it.
Thank you.
I'm smiling because of it. So.
Thank you.
Great. So I read people's eyes, and some of the things that I see in your eyes, like I can see how you've leapt through some of the lessons that are there. I describe like one of your talents as scholar. Your first one, it's about absorbing information to build knowledge and share knowledge. And they often get caught in wanting to understand things too concretely and, objectively. And they finally get more comfortable to jump in. And the last stage is to become an intuitive knower, where they don't know how they know or why they know. So you went through, like, so you're still like, really? Is this happening? Am I doing this? Right. So, but that's what you're doing, right? You stepped into that field.
Yes.
You probably have priestess as your second talent. That's about emotions, waves of emotions, and it's about seeing not only what's here, seeing what's possible, wanting to inspire and motivate people to stretch and reach for what's possible. When it's second, it gets turned inwards. And so usually there's this question, judgment of like, oh, I need to grow, I need to be better, I need to be more, I'm not good enough yet. And so you've like leaned in towards the later stages of trusting your goodness. And part of it, you're still a little bit like, whoa, really, like, regrounding. So there's a little bit of that question, like, did this really happen, of confirmation? And at the same time, that it did. But so I think that you've moved through more of that question, judgment of yourself, right? And knowing your goodness and knowing your capacity. And it's possible that you might have sage as your third. It's a storyteller, communicator. It's about noticing the flow of energy between people. And it's this healthy, the later stages are like healthy balance of like joy and just like so like rolling in life in just the right amount, and networking and connecting more people and allowing stories to come through. So it just seems like you're leaning into those deeper lessons of all of those talents, and yeah, and you speaking about it and being here with us is part of you integrating it and allowing yourself to continue to be in this space. Thank you. And next,
it's been a long time coming.
Susie and Kai.
Yes.
Well done, Yashua. Well done. You know, I love the image of you opening the door and it's like, oh, that's me. And you were totally fine with it. So opening up to who you are is ideal. I feel that you've gone through and you're doing this instinctually. It's not like, oh, I've taken this class and this mentoring that. You're like, no, this is me. This is who I am. And that's exactly what it is. And this love that you are exuding is actually quite infectious, you know. But I also want to give you just a heads up that sometimes you're going to need to, excuse me, take some time and have quiet time with yourself so that you can adjust, because I feel you're going to have this huge amount of energy coming through you, these downloads, now that you're like, okay, this is what I do and I'm cool with it. You know, you got all kinds of guys who are going, like Wyatt said, yes. And what you're doing this whole time, they're all really ready and you're very open to it, but give yourself that time to integrate it.
Okay.
And that means sitting with it, whether, you know, I don't know if it's breathing or going out for a walk or something, but allow that energy to integrate, and it's going to help you stay grounded. And I am so thrilled to see this trust you have in what your inner knowings were. That's one of the big challenges for a lot of folks. It's just trusting it. So well done on you. I'm so happy for you. Thanks for sharing your light here.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yashua, I just want to say that, oh my gosh, like I can, like the power that you have right now is like radiating. So, you know, in essence, like I saw the image of you, like, you know, when you're little, you take like a little step and then you take a big step forward kind of thing. That's what you've done. You've literally taken this giant step forward. And, you know, at this point, you're clear. And by doing so, you've like cleared out a lot of stuff, and you've made things easier for you in the future, because now, because you've kind of cleared the way, cleared the path, like all this stuff that is supposed to come to you that you've been calling for a long time now has the ability to move forward. So you are stepping forward and the things are coming to you. And you're gonna, you know, I would say at this point, hold on to your hat, because a lot of stuff is going to come at you like fast and furious. And you're going to be like, holy mackerel, where did all this come from? Yeah. But you know what? Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. And all the stuff that, you know, that right now might seem like annoyances or, you know, inconveniences, they're bumps in the road. That's all they are. Just roll over them and keep going, because you're on the path, and pretty soon you're going to be running.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I love what you said, Kai, about the rolling over and running, because I'm picking up so strongly on Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, I don't know if you know, like echolocation, like the animals that have echolocation, but hedgehogs literally do have this. They have this echolocation. Not a lot of people know that. It's like this ultrasonic whistle and this ability to hear. You have it so strongly in terms of being able to roll, go with the flow, have humor, laughter, and also hear what's going on from a clairaudient perspective. So just totally confirming everything that everybody said. And is there anything specific that we haven't answered for you? Because I mean, your energy is so infectious. I want to make sure that we're not overlooking something you're hoping to get.
No, well, I just picked my business back up. It's called Sankofa Divinity, as a spiritual health and wellness guidance counselor. I'm also a Reiki master teacher. I do speak. I do have my ancestors here. They are here. And I have a lot of dreams. I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. So it's just, this has been a long time coming. And I wouldn't change anything in the world for it. You know, I just wouldn't.
That when you talk about your career in terms of what you're doing, it feels like, are you working with younger, like kids, like kind of youth? Is that where your direction is?
You know, I actually wanted to begin to do public speaking for kids who are
there's something there.
Alternative.
There's something there. So that's why I'm asking the question. It just feels so powerful. Your ability to meet them where they are energetically and to use, you have such a sense of humor that you're going to be able to use that to connect with people. Anyway, just, you're on the right path. It feels really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would say, you said you just reopened your practice. I want to encourage you to explore what you're going to call yourself now, or what you're going to call what it is that you do, what you offer. It just seems like it's wanting something fresh.
Can you, well, I just call myself Dr. Yahshua Elohim. I mean, that's it. I mean, because I've went through the process. I mean, I'm saying that I have healed myself. I'm saying that I have come to myself and I have healed myself. And my ultimate relationship is with self. And that's what I teach. That's what I inspire others to do. Guide them back into their own divinity, because that's where it's at.
It's great. You said some other name for what you do, or when you said it at first, and that's why I was like, it's not that. Kai has something else she wants to share. I said the way you're sharing about it now totally is in alignment with your energy. Go ahead, Kai.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is like something that as Hawaiians we tend to do, that if there's something that we need to name, like children, businesses, whatever, we actually dream about it. We think about it right before we go to bed, and then we allow that information to come to us through dreams. And it, like, I got shivers when you said you were a dreamer. I'm like, there you go. So that's a thought for you. So if you get something where you feel like you need to rename something, do it through a dream, and then your ancestors can join in, and everybody can help in the naming of whatever it is that you're trying to give a shape to.
Okay. Very well. Very well. Thank you all. Thank you all.
You're so welcome. Thanks so much for leaping in. All right. And we have come to the end of our panel. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. In the chat, I've got the practitioners' information. We've also got a link to our feedback form. We do a drawing, and we'll choose someone for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. And doing sessions with our practitioners supports us as well. So practitioners, let's go around and share again, just briefly, who you are, what you offer, and how people can get in touch with you if they watch the video later. Susie, Wyatt, Michelle, and Kai.
Okay. I'm Susie Parker Goins, a Blue Lightning Healing channel, energy healer, past life explorer guide. I am so excited to have been a part of this panel. So much love and information came through, and there was no skirting the big issues. So I am grateful to everybody here. My website is bluelightninghealing.com, and you can reach me at Susy, SUSY, at bluelightninghealing.com. Thank you all so much.
I have to agree with you, Susie. It was dynamic. I was laughing, I was crying, I was ever in between. It was a great panel. So my name is Wyatt Larsen. I am a shamanism practitioner and storyteller. My offerings they've kind of evolved since I no longer have a true practice. So I am just doing 100% donation-based shamanic sessions. I do only have limited space since I'm only doing them on like Sundays and Mondays now. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email at thewildwoodhollow gmail.com. And thank you so much for sharing your time with me.
Namaste, everyone. First of all, I wanted to say thank you very much to Susie and Laureli and Wyatt and Kai. It was fun sharing space with all of you and all of you who were here and asking questions. And I got to tune into some of all of your space as well. So thanks for that. So if you want to learn more about me, you can find me at soulfeltbliss, soulfeltbliss.com. I really use my intuition, and I help people learn how to become self-empowered. So I use different tools and help you trust yourself. So I always say that I'm here to help you help yourself. So I really want to be able to reiterate that I'm not here to give you your answers. I'm here to help you know that your answers are already within and how to access them in a way that allows you to be more confident. So thanks for allowing me to witness all of you tonight.
Okay.
My name is Kai Bertrand. I am a Hawaiian Kahuna, which is a shaman. And if you were watching, you saw that I can do a lot of weird things. And, you know, it's just part of my thing. I walk people through all kinds of things as far as energy healing, energy shields, helping people pass over. The next place you can find me is actually in a training session that I'll be doing online with Laureli in a few days. Along with Susie. And then I will be at the Bellevue Fair. That's also Laureli is doing at the end of April, beginning of March. So you can actually come see the weird in person. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate being here. And I'm so glad that I got to do this and share the time with all the other panelists. It was fun.
Great having you all. I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, matchmaker. Read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your path, who to connect with to express the best of who you are and have a great time. You can schedule with me at schedulelaureli.com. I don't know how to spell schedule right off, but yeah, Laureli Shimayo, Laureli, LaureliShimayo.com. Got to practice spelling schedule. And our upcoming events, some were just mentioned. This Wednesday, we have a panel on intuitive business, career path information. And then Saturday, we have our Metaphysics Intuition Learning Circle. So that's exercises with Kai and Susie and myself for expanding your intuition, expanding your gifts. And we have more online events, and then coming up in person. And we have our fair in Bellevue, April 30 and May 1. We look forward to being with you online and in person. And you can find out more about all of our events at mewefairs.com, MEWEFAIRS.com. Thanks so much, everyone.